When it comes to monster truck racing, there is no bigger place and no bigger stage than the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan for round 7 of Retro Revolution. I'm your host, Benjamin Butler.
And I'm John Ferguson. And from the first public monster truck crush to the amazing Retro Revolution tour, we're here, like Ben said, at Pontiac, Michigan. And it's going to be a great time here with these fans. They're going to be real loud, and we're going to have a real fun course here today.
Yeah, we have a youth style course here today. We also got a couple of the new faces. We have a brand new Star City Crusher.
Yeah, that's a beautiful truck. The paint job on it is phenomenal. It's definitely a different rendition compared to the original Star City Crusher. This one's a little bit beefier than the first one.
Yeah, a lot of damage has been sustained to the original truck throughout the season, so they decided to go ahead and bring out their new one with a whole lot of R&D done to it. We also got to talk about how John Brozik's been doing in the Annihilator. Super smooth driver, always putting on a good show for the fans.
Yeah, and he got a late start for us going on this tour, and even though he's at the bottom of the leaderboard, he has been doing some great work in the races, and he has been consistently at the top of our brackets at the end of our most recent events. Yeah, and we also have a hometown driver here today with Austin Spence with Motor City Madmen. He is super excited to be here putting on a show for these fans, and I know he's been talking about it a lot in the pits, and we'll be excited to see how he does today.
So John, you had mentioned something about the points. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at those.
Yeah, and it looks like we have Quicksilver holding down the top with 273 points, but followed quickly behind by Green Machine and Fallen Angel. And then coming up at the back end of our top 5, we have Backlash and Bombshell. The other racers, they got a little bit more work to do to keep up with the rest of the pack, but at the top of the leaderboard, anyone can take it at this point, Ben.
And especially being a Triple Crown event worth 3 times the points that normally are worth, these drivers at the bottom need to start really pushing the envelope because we're starting to run out of them. So from where it all started to the racing floor here tonight, we're about to put on a historic run. Let's get ready to go to the action after the commercial break. Alrighty, John, we're going to take a look at our first round bracket.
Our fastest qualifier was Green Machine, and he's going to take on Quicksilver, and Violent Impact taking on Bombshell, and then Annihilator going against Fallen Angel, and Backlash taking on Star City Crusher. That's a matchup we see often. Yeah, and for our final matchup, we have Axeman taking on Motor City Madmen, the hometown kid.
Number 1 and number 2 in the points going to meet each other in the first round. It's going to be Chris Gosler in the Green Machine taking on Don Henderson in Quicksilver. This race right here should be worth the price of admission, John.
Yeah, absolutely. What a star-studded start to the Pontiac Silverdome that we have going on. Like you said, number 1 and number 2 going against each other. This is a really big race to have in the first round.
Yeah, the big difference between these two right here is just how these trucks are constructed. And the problem that I foresee for Quicksilver is he's had a lot of rolls here in the last couple of weeks, whereas Green Machine has kept the shiny side up. So we're going to have to see if Quicksilver can hold it together to make it to the next stop. And there's the green. Quicksilver out of the hole first and to the cars first.
Yeah, it looks like Quicksilver is doing really well right now. Let's see how he handles this turn. Going up over the first hill. Oh, Green Machine makes a lot of time back. Oh, and Quicksilver crosses the line and hits Green Machine, and he just cuts it off, knowing that he messed up right there, and Green Machine takes the win.
Yeah, that would have been the disqualification anyways for Don Henderson. It looks like that Quicksilver truck is pretty well wounded. We'll have to see if these guys can turn things around. Going out in the first round is not exactly what you want when you're the point leader at a Triple Crown event.
3 weeks in a row where Quicksilver has done some damage to his truck. You know that pit crew is tired working overtime while they're traveling to other events.
Here we go with our second matchup of round one. It's going to be Bombshell, Marky Jester, taking on our old friend Bucket Seasock, Violent Impact.
We know both of these drivers are going to put on a great run for us. Bombshell last week flipping his truck and causing some damage. Truck looks good this week. And Violent Impact's always willing to put on a highlight reel for us if he's not getting the win.
Bombshell must have the market cornered on dent side Fords, because this truck has been pretty much upside down in almost every single event it's been at. Bucket Seasock's no stranger to the highlight reel, like you said, so we're going to have to see which one of these is going to pull this one out.
Yeah, and it's ever since Bombshell won at Arrowhead, it's been a tough going for him. So let's see if he's able to put it together at this event and take a win again.
And there's the green Bombshell with the wheels up over the hill. But Violent Impact's going to make it to the cars first, going to make it to the turn first.
Yeah, let's see how Violent Impact handles this turn. He handles it smoothly. Bombshell has still got a lot of ground to make up. And, oh, Violent Impact bounced a little bit, but he is able to get it together and win the race handedly.
Bombshell loses a tire for his efforts. Having a hard time getting it stopped down there at the end of the track. Maybe that might be a trend for the night as well, John. We don't know.
Fortunately for Violent Impact, he stopped his truck. That could have been a bad collision there at the end.
Here we go with another matchup in round one. Going to put John Brozick, who's making a charge to the front of the pack, taking on one of the guys at the top of the pack, Fallen Angel, Chris Sanford.
Yeah, Annihilator is going to be wanting to make a statement win right here, going against one of the top dogs, showing that he is one of the top racers here.
Annihilator is a couple weeks short getting on the tour, but he is flat closing in on the top of the leaderboard.
But we'll see how Fallen Angel handles it, because one thing about Fallen Angel is he is consistent, and he is going to put together a good run and definitely give Annihilator a great race.
They're on the converters, and we're waiting on the green. And there it is. Annihilator with a nice roll over the hill, and he's going to hit the cars first and get down to the turn first.
Yeah, Annihilator's looking really smooth right now, while Fallen Angel's bouncing all around. And Annihilator takes it slow over that hill, giving Fallen Angel a little bit of a hope, but Annihilator is able to just take the win with a nice, smooth run.
That's the key about John Brozick, smooth.
Yeah, he didn't rush any of those hills. He made sure his truck got over him without bouncing crazy.
Alrighty, we're going into another matchup in here in the first round. It's going to be Backlash and Josh McClung taking on the Star City Crusher, Fred Hartman.
Yeah, it'll be real interesting to see how Fred Hartman and his new Star City Crusher truck holds up against Backlash. This has been a consistent matchup in the first round we've seen during the season, and Backlash has done a great job against Star City Crusher over the events, but Star City Crusher's managed to take Backlash out a couple times.
Yeah, both of these guys put it all on the line when they face each other. There's a lot of chirping going on in the pits between these two, trying to figure out who's going to be the most dominant truck of the year. So far right now, Backlash has taken that title.
Yeah, without a doubt, Backlash is in the top 5 of races where Star City Crusher's working his hardest to get up in it, but he just cannot get there. And there's the green, and they are off, taking off, and Star City Crusher gets a good jump on Backlash, and it looks like he has a little bit of an early lead going into the first turn.
It doesn't sound like something's right with that truck. It's running really high RPMs. Sends it over the hump right there going around the corner. Now all the bouncing is going to allow Josh McClung to go right on past him and take a win.
Yeah, it looks like Star City Crusher stalled out when he landed on those tires. I wonder what happened to his truck right there.
And our last matchup of round one is going to pit Chauncey Gibbs and Axeman versus somebody we haven't seen very much of here in the last few weeks, Austin Spence and Motor City Madman.
Yeah, Motor City Madman's a hometown kid here in Pontiac, Michigan. So we'll see how he does. I know he's really excited about this race. He's been talking about it for the past couple weeks. Really excited to come out and put on a show for his hometown fans.
Now, he was out at the Grip All 4-wheel drive Jamboree a few weeks ago, if you remember, John, and he didn't fare too well out there. Maybe he's turned the page and has put some stuff together to try to get himself in the winner's circle.
Axman has been putting together consistent runs week after week. He really has that diesel tuned up right, and that thing is running pretty.
Yeah, that thing's been running extremely strong, John, and now's the chance to prove it up against somebody we don't get to see that much on tour. Chauncey Gibbs ready for Barry, and there's the green. A lot of bouncing out of Motor City Madman, but they're pretty much even. Motor City Madman's out of shape. That's going to be a disqualification. Chauncey Gibbs is going to go ahead and move on into the second round.
Yeah, it looks like maybe he had a little bit too much air pressure in those tires, Ben. He was all over the place over those cars comparatively to the other trucks.
And he's still all over the place,
yeah.
John. He's having a rough run at it.
He cannot get it together.
He has done broke something awful in that truck. Lost a tire. It looks like he might have broke a 4-link as well.
And that's going to be a dud from the hometown kid.
Alrighty, John. We have to know the story behind this. This is the Beam Motorsports mud truck being toted off the course with a lot of damage done to it.
Yeah, it's interesting that we get the prelude to the run. I guess they kind of know that these trucks have been struggling here a little bit.
Well, this happened earlier on in the day, and the Beam Motorsports house truck was the first one to go out onto the course and gets an incredible launch off the line and actually completes the course like he's supposed to, having a little trouble getting it shut down there. We thought maybe he was going to plow into the wall, but this young man is super excited. He finally finished a race this year.
Yeah, and the Beam Motorsports truck finally gets a clean run for the fans, proving that they put together some amazing work on these trucks, and he's going to take a nice ride to the pits here for the win.
Yeah, a little bit too much showboating, though, and he accidentally clips the berm that the monster truck uses to cross over, and out he goes. Coming up next, we got this. Looks like a 32 Ford went in primer.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this handles the mud comparatively to our most recent run. And it is handling it well. It has no issues, and it gets through it very cleanly right there.
Well, see, John, those skinny tires allow it to plow straight through the mud. It's almost like riding on bicycle tires on the front of it. And it allows it to just push right through the mud with no problems. We've seen this one before right here, John. This blue little bug-looking thing. This thing is straight out of a cartoon. This thing is fast, too.
Yeah, it's our very own Herbie.
Now he goes, has a little trouble getting it shut down. You would think that the Pontiac Silverdome floor is large enough to be able to slow some of these things down, but that's simply not the case here, John.
Yeah, they're getting awfully close to that end of that wall, so they have to be sure to be right on the brake at the right time, but they want to make sure that they don't do too early so they cost the run.
We've also seen this one before here. This is our little mud SUV. This thing's pretty quick too, John.
Yeah, no, so far it's our first SUV being toted out there. We'll see how it holds up compared to the competition.
And off he goes, plowing straight through the mud and locking up the brakes at the end, trying to get it woed down at the end of the course.
Yeah, you could see him slam on the brakes right there just to make sure that he has enough time to stop before slamming into that wall.
And we haven't seen this thing on tour yet, but this thing's fast too. It's a bright green Jeep with a lift on it, and it just takes off plowing through the mud.
Yeah, no, absolutely dominating the course. Getting a little bit slippery right there at the end, hitting those brakes, but it was able to keep control and finish out the run.
Congratulations to all our competitors, but I think the green one's going to take the win on this one. Alrighty, John, we're going to take a look at our second round bracket.
Yeah, and our fastest qualifier moved on, Green Machine, and he has taken on our fastest loser in Star City Crusher. And then in our next race, we're going to have Violent Impact going against Annihilator. And in our final round, Backlash taking on Axeman.
Alrighty, in our first matchup of the second round is going to pit Chris Gosler in Green Machine against our fastest loser, Star City Crusher and Fred Hartman.
Yeah, this is a similar matchup we had in round 2 last week at Milwaukee Mile. So it'll be interesting to see if Star City Crusher in that brand new truck that looks super nice is able to take it to Green Machine here.
Yeah, the matte finish on that thing is premium. Chris Gosler's just out here just doing his thing. It's almost like a walk in the park to him, some of these races he's been in. Green Machine out of the hole, fast and hard. Going to make it down to the corner first and whip it around there.
Yeah, and it looks like, oh no, Star City Crusher turns it. Green Machine started bouncing right there and would have given Star City Crusher a chance to get back in it, and Green Machine is able to take a slow ride to the win, and he is putting on a little bit of a showboat for the fans, and what a run from Green Machine.
Here we go, another matchup in round 2. Bucket Seesock pushing it to the limit, and Violent Impact going to be taking on John Brozick, Annihilator.
Yeah, these are two direct opposite style racing. With Annihilator, you're going to get that nice, smooth, slow pull over the hills and making sure that that truck doesn't bounce as much, where Bucket Seesock is going to be sending it and pushing it as hard as he can to get to that finish line.
Very good observation, John. Yeah, these two guys are at the opposite ends of the spectrum. Bucket Seesock's an attack driver, where, as Army Armstrong would say, Annihilator's just like an old pair of loafers, just smooth and comfortable as could be. And there's the green. Annihilator gets out into the lead, heading down into the turn first.
Yeah, and it looks like Annihilator. Man, what a smooth run from him. He has not missed a beat on that turn, and he is absolutely going to take an easy win against Violent Impact.
Oh, Violent Impact's in trouble. He's going to go over into the wall in Pontiac.
Bucket Seesock not shying away from the highlight reel. Even though he got the loss, he still sent it for our fans here.
And now he's hung up on the wall waiting for recovery.
Yeah, and that's why we don't have fans sitting in that section, because, man, that could have been a bad situation.
Alrighty, and our last matchup of the second round is going to pit Josh McClung in Backlash, Chauncey Gibbs and Axeman. And these two have met quite a few times on this tour as well, John.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Ben. And Backlash has done a great job going against Axeman overall in our tour so far. But with that powerful diesel engine, Axeman always is willing to put a close race against these guys.
Yeah, Josh McClung sitting over there in the brand new Backlash 2 we saw last week. He's got it put back together, and we're going to see what he can do with it. And there's the green, and both of them out of the hole pretty much at the same time, and they're going to get to the cars at the same time. This is a very close race right here, John.
Yeah, it's hard to see who has the lead. It looks like they're getting to the turn about the same. It looks like Axeman might have a subtle lead, but he looks like he bounced a little bit, and Backlash is able to get ahead and take an easy win against Axeman.
Yeah, the bouncing cost Chauncey Gibbs a win right there, because he was hanging in there with Backlash.
Yeah, I think he had him, but he lost, all 4 tires bounced off the ground after his first initial hit after that second bump, and that really cost him.
Alrighty, John, we're going to take a look at some 4x4 pulling that we had earlier in the day. This is the D-Series Express, one of the new trucks on tour, and he's about to hook up to this sled and put the power down.
Yeah, what a beautiful truck. It will be amazing to see how it does against our mighty sled.
Yeah, this is the final 2. We have 2 of these guys about to come back and fight for a win. Both of these guys put on full pulls. Now they've reweighted the sled, and there's the D-Series Express taking off for his run.
Yeah, and his wheels are spinning a little bit, but he's doing a great job keeping it together, and he's getting a good pull going right now, Ben.
Yeah, the transfer of weight to the rear axle is really done a good number for him, and he's going to put on a pretty decent pull here. He's going to have a hard mark for our next competitor to beat.
Yeah, it looks like he did a 238.06 pull right there.
Yeah, good long pull for your second run through it. We're going to have to see what the next competitor does, and this is going to be the Retro Puller out of Pikesville, Kentucky.
Yeah, and another impressive-looking truck coming here, and they had amazing first pull, and it will be great to see how they handle this new upgraded sled.
Yeah, this one's running a smaller engine than the D-Series Express, so we're kind of wondering exactly what kind of tricks he has up his sleeve to be able to pull out a further pull than the other truck. But he's putting it down right now.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's got a great run going at the moment. He looks like he has a lot more speed going than the first truck that we had going. And it looks like he's absolutely blowing the first pull out of the water.
That's going to be a full pull from the Retro Puller. Run it out the door and takes a win in the 4-wheel drive pulling class.
What an impressive showing from the Retro Pull, and we are happy to have him on our tour.
All right, John, so this is the unlimited tractor division. This is Firefly right here. It's got 4 big block Chevys on the front of it.
Yeah, and Firefly is a beautiful tractor with those 4 engines, like you said. We're going to get a lot of power here, and we're going to see how well it does with this added weight on this sled.
Yeah, there were 3 of these guys that actually pulled full pulls in the first round. And this is your second round matchups, and Firefly's out the gate.
And a strong pull coming from Firefly, steaming down the runway, and it seems like he's slowing up a little bit, and I just think he might miss a full pull.
Now, he's pretty close to that full pull mark, but that's going to be short. That's going to be a 274.07 for the Firefly.
That's going to be a heck of a pull to beat, but he almost had that full pull, but unfortunately just a little short.
Now, if any of the guys can do it, it's our next vehicle. This is going to be triple threat, running 3 Aries engines on the front of it. This thing packs a ton of power, John.
Yeah, that is an impressive looking tractor right there. It absolutely has the opportunity to put in the best pull, and with the opening that Firefly left him, he can take the win right here.
Yeah, just when you reweight the sled, you have to, especially with 2-wheel drive vehicles, you have to make sure the front end is weighted right. You want to keep it not up in the air, but not bouncing up and down or flat on the ground. There's a nice little middle ground you want to find, and he's trying to find it, and it doesn't look like it's going to work for him right here. He's bouncing that front end all over the place.
Yeah, I know he can't get those front tires down. That's going to hurt him. As you can see, he's slowing down drastically, and that's going to be an upsetting pull for him.
That's going to be a 197.85 for the triple threat machine.
More like single threat, Ben.
Now, John, right here, this thing is awesome. We've seen this one before. This is Turbulence, running 3 G turbine engines on the front of this thing.
Yeah, this thing is a impressive looking tractor. It just brings the imagination to the brain when you're looking at it. It doesn't look like any other tractor we have on tour, but it really puts on a great show for the fans.
Having a little trouble getting hooked up to the sled, but when this thing gets hooked up, watch out, world, because it's coming for you, and it's coming hard.
Yeah, I hope you brought your earplugs, because this thing can definitely cause some hearing damage.
And off he goes. Got a lot of tire speed coming off the line, and he's pulling this thing as hard as he can, John.
Yeah, and it looks like the tires are pulling up a little early on him. I know he wants to keep them down, and oh no, this might slow him down a little too much, and it looks like Firefly's going to take the win with the first initial pull we saw.
Yeah, just a little bit too much bouncing in the front end, and that cost Turbulence a nice strong pull. He was well on his way. Congratulations to all of our competitors in the pulling classes. But we're going to go right back over into the monster trucks and look at our semifinal bracket.
Yeah, and for our semifinal bracket in our first matchup, we have Green Machine going against Fallen Angel because Axeman had a breakage in the pits, and then we have Annihilator going up against Backlash.
Yeah, it's a shame for Axeman not being able to come on back to the semifinals as a fast loser. We had to bring back one of the first round faster losers, and that's where we stand with that now. Right now, we're heading off to the semifinals, and we got Green Machine about to take on Fallen Angel here in our first matchup.
Fallen Angel has a little bit of luck getting all the way to the semifinals, where we had the 3 trucks that potentially could have made it through had some form of breakage in the initial round. So Fallen Angel, a little bit of grace from God, allowing him to get back in it.
Another Ford Chevrolet matchup. These 2 guys have been battling all season long, too. It's been an uphill battle for both of them. We're just sitting here waiting on the green light.
This is a top 3 matchup right now, so people like Quicksilver in the pits are really keeping an eye on this, and Backlash and Bombshell are hoping that maybe both of them wreck out so they get a chance to get back in it.
And there's the green, both of them off the line pretty much at the same time. But Chris Gosler's putting that awesome Ford power onto the dirt and getting out to the lead.
Yeah, and Fallen Angel came in a little too close off those first set of cars and contacted that inside cone, earning him a disqualification. But Green Machine had that no matter what.
Green Machine wiped the floor with him. You can see why one of them's in second and one of them's in third in points. Our second and final matchup of the semifinals is going to pit 2 of the smoothest drivers we've seen in here all night long, John Brozick and Josh McClung. And Josh McClung is playing mind games with John Brozick right now.
Yeah, it looks like Backlash was trying to get into the head of Annihilator right there by taking his time out the pit and making Annihilator really have to think a little bit before this race.
These two have been running extremely well here tonight. This is a matchup you would wanted to see in the final round. Backlash has been making a charge, trying to get up the leaderboard, and this is the event that he wants to do it at. He's just got to knock the Annihilator right off the pedestal.
I mean, that's no small task, Ben.
And there's the green light. Both of them get out of the hole pretty much at the same time. Backlash has a slight advantage heading down into the corner.
Let's see how they handle the turns. This is where Annihilator does a lot of good work, and he caught up a lot with Backlash right there. And Backlash has got to put pedal to the metal, and it looks like he did just enough to take Annihilator. But Annihilator, wow, what a great race for both of these racers right here. And man, I can't believe Backlash was able to take that one back.
And Backlash turned on the power coming over that hill. Both of them come over slightly bouncing, but Backlash was the first one to get it to the ground, and he just flew past him in the air. That's how he won this round, John.
Yeah, and you could see right when they landed, Annihilator had maybe half a tire edge on Backlash, and Backlash was able to make that up in the last straightaway. What an amazing run from Backlash right there.
As he's done so many times this year, coming out for the final round with a blaze of speed, is Chris Gosler and the Green Machine going to be taking on Josh McClung in Backlash.
Yeah, and Josh McClung, ever since he's upgraded this truck, he has been running really fast. Last week in Milwaukee, he flipped his truck on the first race, but he had won that handedly against Quicksilver, another one of our fast competitors. So Green Machine is going to have his hands full going up against Backlash here. Yeah,
these two guys right here are about to go to war. We're just waiting on the green light, and once it hits, it's every man for himself. And there's the green right there. Both guys get out of the hole, but Backlash has a slight lead.
Yeah, Backlash coming into the turn first, and Green Machine doing everything he can to make up time, but it seems like Backlash is holding on a little bit. It is really tight right now, going into the final, and it looks like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure who won that, Ben.
That was one of the closest races we've seen all year long here at Retro Revolution. We're going to have to go to a replay to see who won this one. This thing was close. As you can see on the replay, Green Machine and both of them come bouncing over the hill. Neither one of them getting settled down, but Backlash picked up so much power coming up through the last set of cars there. And that's Backlash. Backlash is going to be your winner tonight by the skin of his teeth.
What an amazing run again from Backlash. In the last round, he did the similar thing to Annihilator, getting a little bit more speed in the last set of cars to take the win, and he had just enough in him to take it from Green Machine here.
He's going to be hard to beat going forward.
You're absolutely right there, and he had put on a wonderful showing for our fans at this event, and what a great finish to Pontiac with a photo finish.
Well, John, it's been a historic night here in the Pontiac Silverdome, adding one more piece of the legacy to this place.
You're absolutely right there, Ben. Like you said, adding a historic piece to the legacy of Pontiac. We had some amazing races tonight, and even in a final race, it had to come down to looking back at the replay to find out who won. That's how amazing it was here. These fans got their money's worth, and these cars got crushed, and these trucks were powerful and fast.
Now, a lot of good pulling and mud racing action as well. Man, that Backlash truck was so impressive tonight. Finally putting some runs together and taking home the win. Can't forget about Green Machine, though. Green Machine, second place in points. He's definitely going to move up.
Yeah, and like you said, Backlash has been running amazing recently. And going against someone like Green Machine, who has consistently been one of our top racers on our tour so far this year, he proved to a lot of people that he deserves to maybe be a little higher in the leaderboards than he's found himself.
Well, John, with all the racing done tonight, let's go ahead and take a look at our points to see where we stand.
It looks like Green Machine was able to wrangle the top spot away from Quicksilver, and Backlash was able to take the second spot, and Quicksilver has dropped all the way to third, with Green Machine sitting at the top with 334, Backlash is 312, and Quicksilver at 297. Fallen Angel is at 287 in fourth, and Star City Crusher making it our top 5 spot for the first time this season with 237. The rest of our racers, they got to do a little bit of catching up to do, and Bombshell, I know, is going to be upset he's falling out of that top 5.
That's quite the shakeup in the points standings. We're going to have to see what everybody else can do at our next event. Where are we going to next, John?
We're going south to Cincinnati at the Riverfront Coliseum.
Yeah, we're in for an interesting race over there next week. It's going to be worth double points. It's going to be a time trial followed by straight line drag racing, kind of like our USA Motorsports style event. Also, we'll have some mud racing to come from that event as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun seeing how these drivers shoot. It's going to be a real short car stack and straight line race for these drivers, so they're going to have to tune up their trucks just right to see who can get the edge. So there's going to be a lot of work over the week ahead, seeing who can get the right tune-up to take the win.
Man, it's been a crazy night here in Pontiac, Michigan. We're sad that we're going to have to let everybody go, but we're going to start heading towards Cincinnati. I'm Benjamin Butler.
And I'm John Ferguson.
And we'll catch you guys next week on another episode of Retro Revolution.